Telegram has an amazing new idea that saves you $5 but costs you your privacy. Also in your hacking news roundup, hackers have found a new use for the humble Raspberry Pi, and Facebook was caught quite literally spying on people in order to understand how Snapchat works. But first, Telegram is launching something that's never been seen before, a peer-to-peer login program. Essentially, Telegram wants to use your phone as a relay to send OTP text messages, and it works like this. When someone signs up for Telegram, they're sent a one-time code via SMS to prove their identity. Up until now, Telegram, like pretty much all other companies, has sent those SMSs using a third-party service. But now, they want to use your phone to send those messages instead. In exchange, you'd get a free Telegram premium subscription, saving you a measly $5 a month. And should you agree to the deal, your phone, and by extension your phone number, would be used in the background to send up to 100 of these login SMSs each month. The most obvious problem here is that this completely breaks your privacy, because the message's recipient can easily see your phone number, and there's nothing to stop them from texting you back, and, well, who knows what trolls could get up to. Telegram totally acknowledges this problem and says in their terms of service, therefore you acknowledge and agree that you have considered any and all potential repercussions this may entail. But arguably, things are worse for OTP recipients, because they'll likely end up associating the sender's number with Telegram itself, which could be abused by bad guys who sign up to this program so that they can send recipients follow-up messages that then lead them into scams. But surely if something goes wrong, Telegram will step in and make things right? Well, no. The terms say, you acknowledge and agree that Telegram shall bear no liability for any costs, expenses, damages, or any other adverse or other... Well, I think you get the idea. You're on your own. This is a very strange program for an app that prides itself on being privacy conscious to introduce. I mean, in their FAQ, Telegram says that one of the most important components of internet privacy is protecting your personal data from third parties. But this does the exact opposite. Telegram says they're introducing this program to make OTP codes more reliable, though I can't understand how this improves reliability. And at a guess, I'd say this is all about money, because every time a company sends an OTP code, it comes with a cost. For example, if you were to use Google Cloud's identity platform to send an MFA SMS, it would cost 1 cent for US numbers or 5 cents for UK numbers, which really doesn't sound that bad. However, for some countries, it's a totally different story. To send a text to an Indonesian number, for example, we're talking 34 cents per SMS, so it's easy to see how those costs add up quickly. This is one reason why last year, X, back when it was called Twitter, restricted SMS-based 2FA to premium users only. Another reason they did that, according to Elon Musk, is that they were losing $60 million a year to fraudulent SMS messages. SMS pump fraud, as it's called, happens when cybercriminals use bots to spam SMS 2FA systems with premium rate numbers. Now, I hadn't heard of this issue until now, but apparently it's a big problem for tech companies, which in 2021 caused global losses of $6.7 billion. And now, it could be your problem too if you sign up to Telegram's new program, because as per the terms of service, you understand and agree that SMS messages sent from your number as part of the peer-to-peer login program may incur charges from your mobile carrier or service provider, which is all your problem. Oh, and one more reason this program is an awful idea is that your phone contract likely comes with a clause that you must only use it for personal use. So by renting your phone number out to Telegram, you're likely violating that, which could see your number getting disconnected. Telegram has always had a strange relationship with privacy and security. They're open source, but only partially. They're seen as privacy focused, but end-to-end encryption isn't enabled on all chats, and where it is, they use some proprietary encryption method that some researchers aren't convinced is totally secure. This program is yet another thing to add to the list. But if saving $5 is worth it to you, the new program is Android only and only available in certain regions, presumably where those SMS costs are sky high. Cybercriminals have found a new use for the humble Raspberry Pi, turning them into anonymization devices to help keep their nefarious activities hidden. The software that makes this possible is called GeoBox. The idea is that once set up on a Raspberry Pi, it'll spawn a Wi-Fi network that you can connect to and use as a kind of conduit to do illegal things. However, GeoBox doesn't do anything special per se. It relies on you to configure it with proxies, VPNs, and among other things, it also gives you the option to spoof a GPS location. What makes GeoBox different is just how noob-friendly it is, because implementing all these individual features yourself on the fresh Raspberry Pi would require downloading a bunch of different tools and, more importantly, knowing how to configure them properly, which is full of pitfalls. There's many cases of hackers being caught due to basic misconfigurations, like the Ubiquiti hacker who was caught after his VPN momentarily dropped, revealing his true IP. And that guy was a senior software engineer. Bit of a crazy story, that one. I'll link to my video on it up here. The aim with GeoBox is to create a kind of all-in-one solution, coming with all the features that a cybercriminal might need, without the requirements to really know what they're doing. And the Pi is the perfect platform for this. They're cheap, easily concealable, and now that the shortage of the last couple of years has come to an end, they're incredibly easy to get your hands on. They're also very disposable. GeoBox comes with a hard reset feature that just involves shorting 2 pins. Alternatively, you could break the SD card, or in 4-line style, eat it and save it for later. You might be thinking that Tor would be a better option for cybercriminals, rather than some dodgy software being sold on Russian Telegram channels for $80 a month, or $700 for a lifetime license. But whilst Tor is great for anonymity, it's also incredibly obvious to websites that you're using it, because of course the IPs of all Tor nodes is public knowledge, and if you've tried using Tor to browse the clearnet, you'll know exactly what I mean. For a bad guy to, for example, fraudulently log into and drain your bank account, they need to be able to at least appear legitimate in order to bypass anti-fraud filters, by spoofing locations and so on, which GeoBox makes possible with noob-level knowledge. However, whilst it might sound a bit cynical to just assume this device is made for criminals, after all, caring about your privacy is not a crime, the device is primarily sold on Russian Telegram channels, which are notorious for bad behaviour, shall we say. And the analysts at Resecurity, who we can thank for the write-up on this, explained that they only discovered the software during an investigation into an online banking theft involving a high-net-worth client of a leading Fortune 100 financial institution. In that case, the malicious individuals utilised several GeoBox devices, each connected to the internet and strategically placed in various remote locations. These devices served as proxies, significantly enhancing their anonymity. Whilst GeoBox is no doubt very powerful and useful for cybercriminals, it's definitely not something that more advanced users would want to even touch. I mean, relying on software you bought off Telegram to keep you hidden seems like a bad idea. Let's not forget that law enforcement has a history of targeting and infiltrating anonymization tools and then exploiting them to uncover their users. You can definitely imagine a scenario where GeoBox's developer is compromised by law enforcement, who then uses the opportunity to roll out a software update with a hidden backdoor. It'll definitely be interesting to see how this GeoBox project develops. Details about a frankly evil Facebook plot to spy on people's web traffic have been revealed in newly unsealed court documents. The documents take us back to 2016, back when Snapchat was considered a real threat to Facebook. At the time, Zuck wrote in an email that whenever someone asks a question about Snapchat, the answer is usually that because their traffic is encrypted, we have no analytics about them. But given how quickly they're growing, it seems important to figure out a new way to get reliable analytics about them. And so Facebook hatched a plan to get some insider data on Snapchat's users. They put Onovo on the case, an Israeli mobile analytics company that Facebook acquired in 2013. And to give you some context about them, this company was behind Onovo Protect VPN, a free VPN that was eventually deemed to essentially be spyware and shut down in 2019. So if anyone knows how to snoop on your web traffic, it's these guys. Onovo devised a plan called Project Ghostbusters, in an obvious reference to Snapchat's logo. It involved advertising for a so-called social media research study, with participants being paid between $10 and $20 in exchange for giving up some of their data. But what participants likely didn't understand was the sheer extent of just how intrusive this study was. It involved having participants install a root certificate on their phone, allowing Onovo to quite literally break the encryption of traffic destined for Snapchat's servers. Participants were also made to sideload an app that would redirect Snapchat's bound traffic to Onovo's servers instead, where it would be decrypted and analysed before being re-encrypted and sent on its merry way to Snapchat as if nothing ever happened. This is the literal definition of a man-in-the-middle attack, which Facebook themselves acknowledge in now public emails. Taking advantage of users who, let's be honest, are unlikely to have read the terms and conditions, let alone recognised they were installing spyware, is quite frankly evil, and Facebook knew it. In newly released internal Facebook emails, the head of security engineering said, "I can't think of a good argument for why this is okay. No security person is ever comfortable with this. No matter what consent we get from the general public just don't know how this stuff works." But regardless of internal concerns, instead of shutting down Project Ghostbusters, Facebook expanded it. They started intercepting YouTube and Amazon traffic as well, and the project was renamed the In-App Action Panel. It's alleged in court documents that this was all blatantly criminal and violated the Wiretap Act. However, a Meta spokesperson spawned to give their side of the story, and they said there is nothing new here. This issue was reported on years ago. I can only assume they're referring to the fact that this story first surfaced in 2019, but the latest revelations reveal a bunch of unseen internal Facebook communication, and I just can't get over the fact that their response here is basically, who cares, you already know we're evil. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.